Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the 2017 Logo Infusion InsideBowling.com Open. Tonight's the finals. I am Mike Flanagan from InsideBowling.com, and I'd like to welcome in my broadcast partner here for tonight's very talented field of 5 bowlers, Dave Wodka. Welcome, Dave.
Thanks, Mike. Glad to be here. It's going to be a great show tonight.
Dave, take us through these two competitors in the first match and the path here. You've been calling all the match play today. Got a couple of real talented young phenoms here.
Yeah, our first match we're going to have from Greensburg, Pennsylvania, B.J. Moore is the number 5 seed. And from Austin, Texas, Anthony Simonsen is the number 4 seed. Anthony bowled a extremely impressive 267 game in the position round to go from 6th up to 4th. And it was on a pair that was notoriously 180s were winning all day on that pair.
Anthony comes in a little light, which is odd compared to what we were seeing him do there towards the end of that block. He was lofting it more than anyone in the field.
Yeah, he was getting it almost halfway down the lane at that point. I think you'll notice now with the re-oil and the fresh pair for the TV finals here, you're going to see the guys playing a little further to the right.
Covers it up with the spare, so that's always good to start out with a spare out of the gate. No open frame. You've bowled your fair share on television, and this being a webcast, sometimes your nerves can still get to you a little bit.
Absolutely they can. No matter how many times you're there, no matter how many times you bowl, it's still different when you're the only one on the lane. You've got this little, even here we've got a little set and cameras and people are watching, so it's definitely a little different.
Both players came in light on their first shot, but leaving easy spares. Well,
yeah.
Not necessarily on this oil pattern, the flying V, which we'll talk about here in just a moment.
I was going to say there weren't a lot of easy spares on this pattern this week. Spares were a premium. Scores were very low. And, wow.
Just like that, B.J. Moore with an open. Not the start he was looking for.
And, you know, we talk about the scores being low. Anthony Simonsen and B.J. Moore in match play. Anthony Simonsen went 7-5 with just a 209 average, and B.J. Moore went 6-6 with just a 207 average. So as they got into the match play today and the way the lanes broke down, they were absolutely much harder.
B.J. Moore playing right around the 7th board. Let's go ahead and take another look at this shot right here. First really good shot here of the match.
Yeah, that was a great shot by B.J. Trying to keep his angles in front of him on this fresh condition. And that's pretty much how they played. You started out a little bit to the right, kept it in front of you, and then we migrated left.
Take a look at Simonsen playing out towards the right side of the lane, and now a strike for Anthony. So each player with an X up on the board.
And just, you know, that first shot on the show, maybe just take an extra shot to get comfortable.
Dave, the flying V oil pattern.
Yes. It was,
you competed this week.
In my opinion, it was a very fair oil pattern. The scoring pace was right about where it should be. You know, it took about a 211, 212 average, I believe, to make the top 32. So it was multiple angles. You could kind of play wherever you wanted to play. Guys played to the right, guys played to the left. A couple lefties bowled good. Gene Perez actually was in the top 5 until the very last game and fell out. He was the only lefty that made the top 12, but there were a couple that were close just outside of that.
B.J. Moore up on the right lane looking for his first double. A little inside of target, it looked like to me, but it held.
And B.J.'s kind of keeping it firm and keeping it in front of him, just like we were talking about on the fresh pattern here. And you're going to see as the show goes on, into Game 2 and Game 3 and into the title match, you're going to see the guys migrate left a little bit more, especially with the higher rev rates on the finals here tonight.
Yeah, first match we have, of course, Anthony Simonsen and B.J. Moore. Who's the other folks we're going to see here tonight?
Our 3rd seed, the winner of this match, is going to move on to face Brandon Novak from Chillicothe, Ohio. And then our second seed, Bryan Valenta from Lockport, Illinois, took a little bit of time off and came back, had a really good weekend so far. And then our top seed, also from Lockport, but not Lockport, Illinois, Lockport, New York, is Brad Angelo, PBA Tour champion.
A couple of side notes on that. Bryan Valenta posted last week that he was getting the band back together, meaning he was going to start bowling more competitively. He took some time off, been going through some personal things, and Bryan bowled our very first one of these and has supported our events for a long time. So we look forward to seeing Bryan coming up a little bit later in the show. And I just have to say, on the drive in with my team, I predicted Brad Angelo would win the bowling tournament, and he just happens to be leading. And no, I did not send him the pattern ahead of time or anything like that.
Well, that was a pretty good prediction so far. He's one game away from it.
And these players making it look easy here on our championship pair, lanes 65 and 66. And we haven't seen this pair in play in a while, Dave, considering it was not used through match play today.
Right, and it was stripped and re-oiled again right before they started bowling this TV final. So we'll see how this pair plays. We don't have a whole lot of history on it from the match play today, with them having not used it.
Simonsen taking the first re-rack of the match. Those of you at home, make sure you put a little mark down there. Anthony Simonsen, one re-rack.
BJ Moore did bowl on this pair in qualifying and had a 203. And it does not look like Anthony bowled on this pair.
Simonsen comes in high. Let's take another look at it. See if you can pick something up here, Dave, on the replay.
Looks like he got up on his toe a little bit there and kind of got over the top of it a little bit.
So an open frame for Simonsen, 106 in the fifth. I'd like to welcome in all of our viewers here in the chat as we broadcast live here on Facebook and on YouTube.
BJ Moore's got such a solid game. That was a pretty good shot right there. BJ made a couple shows at the World Series last year out in Reno. Qualified for the show in the USA versus the World out in Reno, and it's also part of the Dallas Strikers, who won their quarterfinal match last week and will be taking on myself and the Philly Hitmen next Sunday on ESPN.
Covers the spare. A couple shots out here in the chat. George M says hit that like button. Yeah, we sure would appreciate that. Also, if you would subscribe to our YouTube channel, we certainly would appreciate that as well. We're almost at 9,000 subscribers, and we thank all of our fans all over the world that tune into our broadcasts. Also, the Bowler Show in the house. David Waswell, he competed here this week. We appreciate you making the drive all the way in from Kansas City, Waz. It was good to see you and your family.
Always great to see Dave. Been on his show a few times. It's always a fun time.
Moore getting set up. Take a look at his angle.
So he got that one a little bit right of where he was. That was a really good shot, though. And he's got a 2-pin lead through 5 frames.
Both players wearing shorts tonight. Here at Inside Bowling, we do not have a dress code. Players can wear whatever they would like to feel comfortable in. We're hoping one day somebody shows up in meat.
That would be interesting.
We're looking for the hits, Dave. The hits.
I understand. That would probably get plenty of hits.
Bring some sponsors.
Anthony kind of gave up on that one a little bit. Looked like he did the same thing on that one. Kind of got maybe a little quick with his feet. He's got to, even though he's trying to throw it a little harder and keep it on line, he's still got to keep his feet in that same tempo. And you can tell when he gets a little bit quick and he gets up on his toe a little bit, you can see him kind of get over the top of it.
Simonsen with the spare. And a lot of pins have bounced out here at Western Bowl.
Yeah, pretty lively pit area here. There was some splits made. I know somebody there. I know there was at least one 710 made this week.
Brad, Angelo, you see him in the background. He's signaling us in the booth, our top seed. And he really didn't like that one. That one was pitched way outside the window. Yeah, looks like he might be kind of hot.
And he's just getting too fast. He's got to compose himself here. He's got to slow down a little bit, take a deep breath. Got to cover this spare and move on.
He just looks like he's perspiring and just not comfortable yet.
And no problem on the cover.
Covers it up early on here in match number 1. On our telecast here tonight, Mike Flanagan, Dave Wodka here with you at the 2017 Logo Infusion InsideBowling.com Open. It's our 7th year, Dave. I can't believe it.
That's great.
New venue this year, Western Bowl
here
in Indianapolis.
Mark Shook and his crew have been fantastic hosts here this weekend. And hopefully we get to come back.
And now Moore with a strike.
So BJ off to a little bit of a lead now.
Looks like BJ's slowing down a little bit. Both players are going at a pretty quick pace here. Match number 1.
Interesting little side note for Anthony Simonsen. His high game of the tournament was that 267 that he shot in the final game to get into the stepladder finals.
That's how you finish, Dave.
That's absolutely right. Another great shot by BJ right there.
Yeah, I'm going to roll that one back one time here. Let's take a look at BJ Moore. Down and through the shot.
Anthony once again just looked like he got a little quick again. Anthony's going to have to cover this spare. He's going to have to figure out a way to make a good shot in the 9th frame to have any chance of winning this first match.
Covers it up. Coming up next in the next match, don't forget we got Brandon Novak on tap, USBC All Events champion from 2016.
And also coming off winning a PBA regional just last weekend. So looking for back-to-back weekends of wins.
Anthony Simonsen, a major champion. And I guess he liked it?
I don't know. It sure looked all right.
Or is he already in get out of the way mode, which wouldn't make much sense?
He's still got 219 max, and BJ Moore's in the 230s right now, or 220s right now. So, you know, another open puts Anthony right back in it. So BJ's got to concentrate here, make a good shot. Which he did.
So BJ Moore cruising along here in match number 1.
Got a 39-pin lead through 9 frames. And pretty much just needs a mark in the 10th to shut out Anthony and move on to face our number 3 seed, Brandon Novak.
Really impressive opening performance here for BJ Moore after that open. And you see these two guys are friends. Simonsen's going to finish 5th.
And that's going to be for, Simonsen's going to pick up $1,300 for the weekend.
Simonsen finishing out now. Fast tracking through here, so
These five players are bowling for a total of over $13,000 tonight in these 5 spots, with $7,200 going to the winner. So lots of money up for grab tonight.
Simonsen covers the spare. I know Simonsen wanted us to give a shout out to all of his friends watching tonight, including his girlfriend Angie Ramirez. BJ as well, wanting to give a shout out to his wife Tania.
And you saw BJ on his fill ball there. Threw a different ball, moved in, tried to hook it a little bit more. He's just trying to get a feel for what's going to happen with the lanes as the night goes on.
So it's 195 for Anthony Simonsen.
It's like 243 for
BJ Moore.
Yeah. So BJ Moore is going to move on. Our 3rd seed from Chillicothe, Ohio, Brandon Novak. And again, Brandon's been bowling pretty good lately, coming off a regional win. Just last weekend, won in Grove City, Ohio, and that's actually the 3rd time in 4 years that he's won that tournament. So, likes that place. I know he's been here a couple times for events, and he's bowled pretty well. So, pretty confident going in for to take on BJ Moore now.
So Brandon's going to get his practice balls. When we come back, we'll have match number 2 here on Inside Bowling. Welcome back, 2017 Logo Infusion InsideBowling.com Open. Underway in match number 2, just about to get started. Mike and Dave here back with you, and we see Brandon Novak taking on BJ Moore. BJ Moore defeated Anthony Simonsen in the first match.
And the score of that match was 243 to 195. BJ Moore with a nice break to get started there. We're going to get our first look at Brandon Novak, affectionately known as the Jim Furyk of bowling.
With that unorthodox swing.
You can see BJ's playing quite a bit further left than Brandon's playing quite a bit further left than where BJ is. And this is where we're going to start seeing some transitions now, because now we've got Brandon who's playing further towards the middle of the lane. We've got Bryan Valenta coming up, who's definitely going to be playing further towards the middle of the lane. And then when we get to Brad Angelo, you kind of never know. He played all over the lane this week. He's got that really soft hand. He's got a chance to play him a little straighter depending on how they break down.
Pretty good shot by Brandon.
Brandon Novak was 6-6 in match play and had just a 204 average in match play. So going back to where the scores were much lower when we got to match play, Brandon averaged 232 in qualifying. No problem covering the 7-pin. Be curious to see if BJ, how long he can stay to the right like he was playing.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if he needs to if he'll make a big jump once it does go, or if he'll stay right on top of it.
Yeah, I mean, if his look continues to be good, he may just try to ball down and stay right on top of where he's at. And it looks like he's moved just a little bit. Looks like he's moved 1 or 2 left already.
Gets through it good. I like the way he sticks his shots. He's got a really smooth style.
And he's very, very solid at the line. You never see him falling off a shot or out of balance. Very solid game. I actually expect a lot of really good things from this guy on the tour in the future. He's already made some waves, and I believe he's going to be a champion here at some point.
He also has experienced some adversity over the last couple of years. He's been in cuts and just bowled out of them, and really an emotional roller coaster at the highest level.
Looks like he got that one into the lane just really, really quick, and 369.10, and this is definitely known as the hardest spare on tour. So see how he chooses to shoot this one. with the way the flying V pattern played this week, a lot of guys shot this straight and just tried to, almost like shooting it on a U.S. Open pattern where you just try to throw it really hard and jam them all back there. And BJ's going to hook at it,
and very strange.
Gets none.
Obviously, he didn't like it, didn't get off his hand right, and it looks like he got just right in the oil of the V, and it just kept going to the right.
Pushed it all the way down there, and there's OB there down the lane, so it's not going to hook back from there. So opening for Brandon Novak.
Really get to see his swing
Brandon
there.
didn't like that one. And very fortunate.
Just leaves the 4. Want to give a shout out to Ebonite International sponsoring the event again this year. Every bowler that participated had an opportunity to pay $295 and receive one of 6 bowling balls from the 4 brands of Ebonite International. You see the banners down the lane. Columbia 300, Ebonite, Hammer, and Track. District Sales Manager sitting next to me, Dave Wodka, for this area. We appreciate the sponsorship, bud.
We're glad to be a part of this event. You know, like you said, 7 years. It's been a great event. I've been fortunate to be a part of it for the last 2 years now, and I'll continue to keep coming back. It's great. There you got a really good look at Brandon's swing when he's on the left lane there from right behind it. And a
trips
lucky break. Lucky break there.
Brandon's won a lot of events in the last couple of years, kind of like this. Bradley Open comes to mind.
Twice. He won it back-to-back years.
And he's made deep runs in other live webcasted events.
Yeah, he finished second at the Proprietors Cup one year. And BJ did not look like he liked that one. Another one kind of into the lane a little early and grabbed it a little bit. And on this pattern, that was death. No problem covering the spare.
Also out there on the lanes, we have some folks in the chat asking what ball is on the trophy this year. As Ebonite International, we put a bowling ball on there in the Ebonite brand. It's the Maverick Pearl.
One of my favorites right now.
And Don Barrett's.
Yes, one of Don Barrett's
favorites. Just to name drop a little bit.
Yeah.
I know Don Barrett. I'm pretty cool.
That's good. I might have bowled with him last couple weeks ago.
Thanks for joining us, everybody. Go out and tell all your friends. Make sure you share it on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, wherever you may be. You can find us on all those platforms as well. Look up at Inside Bowling. Give us a follow.
A lot better shot there by BJ. Got through that one much better. You could see it didn't get into the floor as quick. He got through it a lot better. Much better shot.
Novak works quickly. If he makes it all the way through the show, this will be the fastest live stream we've ever had in an IB Open Finals.
He definitely liked that one a lot more. That was a great shot by Brandon. Kendall Johnson asked if there's any previous winners in the field. Do we have any previous?
Kyle Troop bowled this year
and
made it to the round of 32.
And these 5 players tonight, none of them are previous champions, correct?
Nope. Jake Peters, Danny Spink, Bill O'Neill, Kyle Troop, Matt McNeil, Rob Gottschall.
That was way right for Brandon. And got lucky to just leave the 4-8.
This is a very busy bowling center, and we do have a lot of parties just off of our set. If you do hear some background noise, everyone, that is what you're hearing here at Western Bowl.
Doug Moss asked in the chat, shout out to Doug, what were the most used EBI balls this week? And I would say the Phenom Pearl and the Kinetic got a lot of play this week. Both of those were, especially later on in the blocks, both of those balls were really good.
So here's BJ Moore up on the right lane in the 6th frame.
That looked like a better shot. Ooh.
Wraps the 10.
Great shot by BJ there. No problem with the spare.
If there's a 7-10, I could see it possibly getting picked up on tonight's
we could
telecast.
have that happen tonight. Yeah, absolutely. So we're through 6 frames of this match, and Brandon Novak with a 19-pin lead on a spare. Both players on spares. BJ Moore getting up on the left lane in the 7th frame right now.
Taking his first re-rack. Maybe taking a little time, a little composure. Something maybe didn't look right there.
See if he can make another good shot here. He's made 2 really good shots in a row after the couple mishaps. And that one just well right of where he's been. And you know, I'm wondering now if the lanes of transition now, where that kind of keeping it in front of you to the right is going away, and he's going to have to make a move here. As we see Brandon quite a bit further left than him, BJ may end up having to make a move in and follow him in there.
Covers the spare. Go over and take a look at Brandon Novak and how he attacks this right lane.
That was a great shot there.
10 back for Brandon.
Great shot on the right lane. Now working on a strike, getting up on the left lane, looking for a double. And that looked to be right again. Oh, got a lucky break there.
Comes in light, shuffles him up, and Brandon Novak.
Now with a 32-pin lead. BJ Moore is going to have to start striking here. That's a pretty good shot. Great shot there.
Strike for Moore.
So BJ's going to have to get a strike over here on the left lane. He can cut the lead down to 22 pins, make Brandon get up in the 9th and 10th and think about it a little bit.
We just surpassed 600 people watching now live on YouTube. Once again, hit that subscribe button and you'll be notified when we go live with more upcoming webcasts in the future.
BJ looked like he liked that one off his hand, and I don't think he expected it to hook that much.
Yeah, so, uncharacteristic to leave the 6. You would think this would leave a 4-pin.
Right.
4-pin fell out late.
So Brandon Novak with the 32-pin lead is going to come up on the right lane in the 9th frame and look to close out this match. Somebody asked what ball Brandon Novak was throwing. I believe it is a Mako.
It looks like it to me.
And that was well left. Well left. But still in command of the match. 30-pin lead. Just got to clean up his spare.
Max score 225 for Novak. Brandon's one of the nicest guys you'll meet. He's really quiet, but Brandon's one of those guys that always comes up and shakes your hand for running a tournament, webcasting, whatever it may be. Saw him bowl on TV, made his first show at the World Series of Bowling.
Yeah, that was great. He had a great run out there. He really should have probably made 1 or 2 other shows. He really had a fantastic week.
And Novak with a strike in the 10th frame. You see the exchange between the two players. Novak's going to move on to take on our number 2 seed, Bryan Valenta.
Making his return to competitive bowling.
BJ Moore just finishing out now. BJ Moore finishes in 4th position.
And BJ Moore is going to receive $1,450 tonight.
Brandon, he's fishing around trying other bowling balls now.
Brandon Novak's going to move on, and 1 more game closer to that $7,200 first prize.
Last shot for BJ Moore. It's been a pleasure having you in the field this week, BJ, and a Bird Dog Messenger just to finish things off. Brandon Novak uses the same ball that he switched to on the 11th. So Brandon Novak can still bowl, or finishes with 224 rather. So 224 to 183. Coming up next, it'll be Brandon Novak taking on Bryan Valenta in our semifinal match. Welcome back to the semifinal match. Mike Flanagan here with Dave Wodka here at the 2017 Logo Infusion InsideBowling.com Open, brought to you by the brands of Ebonite International. Hey Dave, Logo Infusion, what a great title sponsor for this event. Ken Keegan and Brandon Allred both making the trip out, and they really stepped up in a big way sponsoring this event this year.
Absolutely. It's so nice to have them on board. And Brandon and Ken, you know, I've got a lot of jerseys from them, and they're always timely. The designs are great. They've got so much to choose from. You can customize everything. I did some live stream with Ken yesterday a little bit, talked to Ken a little bit, and he's really happy to be here and be a part of it as well.
Don't forget, everybody, if you'd like to go pick out a Logo Infusion jersey or any of the products that they offer, go over to logoinfusion.com. Use that coupon code IBOPEN17. And you can save 20% through the end of May. IBOPEN17. Bryan Valenta gets us started in the first match. Quite a bit deeper.
And a really good shot to get started there. And here we go. We talked about it. He's another zone left of where Brandon Novak is. We'll get Brandon's first shot on the right lane here. And looked like a ball change for Brandon. That looks like he changed to a gauntlet.
Yeah, and I think that's what he used on his 2 fills. I know there's only 1 fill ball, but in the 11th and the 12th. I think that's what he went to on the left lane. Brandon not afraid to change balls.
Not at all, and he did use a gauntlet for like games 2 through 5 or 2 through 6 during match play. So get that another look from right behind of that arm swing. Little unorthodox, but he gets it done. And again, coming in light on the left lane with a 2.4810.
Gets the 2.
So Bryan Valenta now up for his second shot on the right lane after a strike on the left lane. And he's almost in front of the ball return already, right from the get-go. And 3.6910. And you see Bryan looking at his fingers quite often. And he's having all kinds of issues with his fingers, and I believe we just found out that his finger ripped open on that first shot. So we'll have to see how that plays out this game. He did tell us that this is more games than he's bowled in quite some time. 3, 6, 9, 10. Very difficult spare. And no problem. I'm sorry, that was actually just the 3, 6, 10. I thought the 9 was there. So no problem covering that up.
Looks like we had a computer issue down there on the scoreboard. Apologize for the technical difficulty, everyone. Looks like they're getting it caught up right now. Bryan Valenta up in the third frame. He might be able to touch the trophy with his left hand.
Yeah, no doubt.
And every shot hurts.
Yep, and he's going to grind through it. You know, $7,200 on top, 2 games away from it. He's going to figure out a way to get through these last 2 games.
Bryan Valenta isn't the original two-hander, but he is one of the first people that you see come onto the scene and use two hands.
Yeah, he was, first time I had seen him was back when he was bowling in college.
Yeah, Lindenwood University when they won the national championship.
Right. A lot of people don't really know who the original two-hander was. Do you know who the original two-hander was?
Oh boy, I should know the answer to this, Dave. Why don't you
did I
give
get
it to
you?
me? Yeah, I think so.
Chuck Landy.
Okay, yeah, I've heard the name, but I never saw him bowl.
Pretty good shot by Brandon there on the right lane for a 4-pin. And Brandon Novak taking on Bryan Valenta in our semifinal match. Brandon Novak defeated BJ Moore in the second match. And BJ Moore had defeated Anthony Simonsen in our opening match. Bryan Valenta with a 13-pin lead early through 3 frames.
Novak fired that one a little wide.
And looks like he changed back to the Mako on that left lane as well. That left lane's giving him problems. He's going to have to figure it out. He's been light on that lane almost every shot. No problem on the spare. We're up over 700 people watching now.
Well, welcome in, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. 7th year of the IB Open. Been to St. Louis and now to a new city, Indianapolis, here at Western Bowl. Take a look at Bryan Valenta's style. Right through the face.
And I believe he looked like he liked that one off his hand too. So he's been high on that lane both times. So it appears that the left lane has gotten to be a bit tighter as the players have bowled on it. We see Brandon Novak keep coming in light, and now Bryan Valenta's gone high on the right lane both shots. Takes his 3.
And it's funny sometimes when it doesn't trigger the mechanism for the pin setter. It just sits there for a minute. I thought maybe another pin was going to bounce out. So BV now up on the left lane. And this is where a lot of the players were getting into towards the later part of match play today. I feel like maybe they're getting there a little too early during this.
They're definitely there quick. And then again, now the left lane with a, that's a 2-4-10 for BV on that lane. So we're definitely seeing some disparity in the 2 lanes now. The right lane hooking quite a bit more than the left lane.
Let's see if Valenta can slide this over.
I'm going to call that he does. And he does not. So back-to-back opens for Bryan Valenta, and now Brandon Novak with a 14-pin lead. Getting up on the right lane in the 5th frame. And he did change balls back to that Mako, and the right lane's been okay for him. He's going to have to figure this out. Let's see what kind of adjustment he makes on the right lane. He's been light every shot on this lane so far. And I don't think he wants to move right because I think it's going to hook a little early. I think he needs to try to just slow it up a little bit and maybe get it into a little earlier roll without actually moving. And that was definitely left of his other ones, and pretty good shot. Little high, but good shot. 4-pin goes down, so that's a double. And now with a 24-pin lead.
Yeah, Valenta is going to have to get on the strike train here.
And I believe Bryan's having so many issues with his hand here. This is definitely making it tough for him to fight through. And that was a great shot there. Great shot. So still down 24. Can come up here if he gets a double, cut the lead to 14. Bryan Valenta on the left lane looking for a double. He's got to start striking here. Brandon looks like he's lined up on both lanes now.
Comes in light for the 1-2-4.
And another open for Bryan Valenta. And Novak did get a triple there, so up on the left lane and has this match in command. And a great shot. Looks like he's really lined up now. This could be a pretty exciting title match. Brandon Novak with a 56-pin lead now through 7 frames. And kudos to Bryan for fighting through this. If you got to look at his hand, he actually put a picture of it on social media earlier, and it looks even worse now than when he put that picture out.
Yeah, and you can see him really grabbing it.
And that was a good shot by BV. Well, Brandon Novak looks to be moving on to our title match. And like you said, with Brandon moving on, the more games he bowls, the quicker it's going to go. And Bryan just trying to get out of the way now. His hand is really bad. And another fairly good shot by Brandon, tripping the 4. So Bryan Valenta is going to finish in 3rd, and he's going to earn $1,950. And we're getting a shot of Bryan Valenta's hand right now.
Let me try to find that.
That's he just put it up on the screen. Brandon Novak is going to move on to take on our tournament leader, top seed, Brad Angelo.
Brandon Novak's lined up. He's going to be tough to beat.
He is, and he's lined up now. He's actually got the left lane. He made a little adjustment on the left lane, and it seems to be working. The hand rolled the 2-pin as well.
So Brandon Novak bowls 245 in impressive fashion here. And I don't even think BV is going to finish out, is he?
Doesn't look like it. I believe he is done.
Okay, when we come back, we'll have our championship match here on Inside Bowling. Logo Infusion, InsideBowling.com Open, your 2017 edition championship match. Brad Angelo, Brandon Novak. Brandon Novak coming in was the 3 seed, defeated Bryan Valenta in the last match, and now he faces tournament leader Brad Angelo from Lockport, New York.
Brad with a 10-2 match play record, and he had the highest average in match play with 215. It looks like Brad's chosen to start the match, and that may be a little bit because maybe he watched and maybe he saw that Brandon was struggling with the left lane a little bit, and that would make Brandon finish on the left lane.
Dave, let's give it up for Logo Infusion. Save 20% off with coupon code IBOPEN17. IBOPEN17. You save 20% off through May. Ken Keegan and Brandon Allred here in the house, representing here all week, talking to the bowlers. Thank you for the sponsorship to everyone at Logo Infusion.
And looks like we're ready to go. Brad Angelo's first shot.
I think Brad's waiting for some noise to clear. So here is Angelo up on the left lane to start our championship match.
And it looks like he's playing further to the right. That was a great shot to start the match. A little bit of bad luck there with a ring 10. He is definitely playing further right than Brandon Novak. And Ryan Downard brought up a good point. Yes, both Brandon and Brad Angelo, I believe, are eligible for the $2,000 in Logo Infusion jersey incentive.
Yes, they are. Once again, thank you, Logo Infusion. Also, thanks to Ebonite International, the fine brands of Columbia 300, Ebonite, Hammer, and Track for their sponsorship as well at this event.
Get a look at Brandon Novak's first shot on the right lane here. Comes in light for a 2-pin. And that might just be a little bit of the break in between matches while Brad was throwing his practice shots. Might take Brandon one shot to get loose.
$7,200 to the winner, $3,700 for second.
No problem covering the spare for Brandon. And with both players missing in the first frame, we officially are going to get through the entire tournament with only one 300 game.
That's right.
And it was bowled on the first night, game 4, by Mike Kahn out of Louisville. See that unorthodox arm swing of Brandon. And that looked way left.
Yeah, Brandon didn't like that shot. Now Brandon looking a little lost here. Brad Angelo's probably thinking, wow, this kid just bowled
245 last game. And, you know, again, though, Brad had all his practice shots, and Brandon sat for a little bit. So maybe just needed these 2 shots to get loose again. And if Brad doesn't run away and hide, he'll be back towards the end of the match. And making the 3-6-10 for Brandon.
Brad being very deliberate here early in the match.
He's making he will take enough time to make up for how fast Brandon goes. So this match will be normal time. You can see Brad playing again much further right than where Brandon is, trying to play him a little straighter. And another great shot and another ring 10.
Back-to-back 10s for Brad Angelo.
Brad, a very good spare shooter. I have much faith that he will make this and have an early 2-pin lead through 2 frames. No problem on the cover.
Championship pair, 65 and 66. I don't know if it was one of the trickier pairs this week or not. It was not used in match play. It's been sitting for a while. Fresh lane condition being put down by Kegel. Doug Dukes was here. I want to thank Doug and the folks at Kegel for all they do for our event. The Kegel Flex machines that Doug brought in. Good luck to Doug this summer as he'll be out mostly on the PWBA Tour putting down the conditions.
Brad Angelo did bowl 1 game on this pair in the semifinal round, and he had 223. And another great shot. Brad looks to be very lined up. He's got a great game plan, and Brandon's going to have to get back into this. Brandon closed out last game real strong after a slow start, so he's going to have to do the same thing again right here.
One thing that I really like about Angelo is how all over the years he's stuck to the same style. He stays down and through the shot all the way until about when the ball hits the pins, and he really posts his shot when he needs them.
Right. Get a look at Brandon on the right lane here. And not a good shot there. Slow and kind of got it into the lane early. And that's a 3-6-9-10.
It just looks like Brandon's just lost his rhythm. Like it's like a little switch has just gone off.
Yeah, and that can be tough when you come off of winning that semifinal match, and then you have to sit for a few minutes while the top seeds throwing their practice balls. That can be a little tough to get going again. Brandon chooses to hook at the 3-6-9-10 and makes it perfectly.
So Brandon's still very much in this match.
Absolutely. He's down by 6 pins. He's made a couple of tough spares. He's got to get 1 strike here, just kind of loosen him up a little bit, and again, he's got to hope that Brad doesn't run away. Brad's obviously, like I said, he's very lined up. 2 ring 10s to start, and then a great shot in the 3rd frame for a strike. Let's see what Brandon can do on the left lane. That appeared to be a little better shot. And a little soft 10 there, but that was a much better shot.
Similar to Angelo's ball reaction going through the pins there.
Yeah.
Shout out here in the chat to DJ Marshall. Says, Doug Dukes did so much for me and our team at Humes over the year. He's one of the greatest people alive.
Brandon makes his 10-pin, no problem. So maybe that shot will loosen him up a little bit. He made a really good shot there. Didn't get the strike that he wanted, but maybe got lined up again. Brad's got to smell blood right now. Brandon not real comfortable, not real lined up. Brad's got a great look. We'll see what kind of shot he makes here in the 4th frame.
Down to the last two bowlers, 242 total entries this week. Angelo and Novak duking it out here. Angelo has a chance to take an early lead, bigger lead.
And 2-8-10. Wow, and there you go. The first three shots were just great. And then the 2-8-10.
Yeah, and that 2-8-10, you've seen a lot of two-pin combinations during the tournament with the flying V pattern that they're bowling on today. Very flat pattern using fire and ice oil.
And if you got your angles going away from the pocket too much early in a round, it was very easy to leave it 2-8-10. And that's what we saw right there. And
as Brad.
Wow. And again, we definitely saw a lot of pins bouncing out. So Brad gets the 2 and actually is down by 5 pins now. There's our GM, Mark Shook, going to go get that deadwood for us real quick. And I got to give a shout out to Western Bowl and Mark and his crew here. They were great hosts all weekend. The facility is top notch. If you're ever in the Indianapolis area, stop in and say hi, bowl a few games. They got great food, great drinks, and we want to definitely thank Mark for his hospitality.
Brad left the target. Yep, through the face for 3-6-10.
And that was a direct relation from the last shot being light. He was going to make sure that one wasn't, and kind of got over the top of it and grabbed it a little bit, and 3-6-10. Just got to make the spare, regroup, and now Brandon Novak's going to get up with a chance to put a double on after he's seen a little chink in the armor from Brad. No problem on the cover.
So what do we have here, Dave? 15-pin match?
5. Brandon's up by 5 pins at the moment. That appeared to be a better shot again by Brandon, and a ring 10. But that's 2 really good shots in a row by Brandon. So now if Brandon can make the 10-pin here, he will have a 4-pin lead halfway through the title match of the IB Open. $7,200 to the winner, $3,700 to the runner-up. No problem with the cover. Give one more shout out to our sponsors, Ebonite International and Logo Infusion. And thanks to Mike Flanagan and the InsideBowling.com crew.
Thanks, Dave. Yeah, I'd like to thank the entire staff. Brian Burkhart sitting next to me up here in the booth. Kim Richter, Ashley Cole, of course, Tournament Director Jerry Anderson, and everyone else that helped us out here this weekend.
See if Brandon can make another great shot. That appears to be a pretty good one again. And another ring 10. And the carry's just brutal this last game.
It sure is.
Yeah, he's made 3 really good shots. That's a hard thing, too, because he's probably getting a little frustrated. He's got to keep those emotions in check and just keep making good shots.
Brad's ready to bowl. Look, Brad's already picking up his ball before
Yeah.
Brandon's even finished the frame.
So we're down to we've got a 3-pin match. Brandon Novak up by 3 pins. Brad Angelo getting up in the 6th frame on the right lane, working on a spare. And this game is very indicative of how difficult and demanding this pattern was all week. Let's see if Brad can regroup after the two subpar shots in the last 2 frames.
1 strike so far in this match.
That looked like a pretty good shot from Brad, and he liked it. So now Brad's going to get up on the left lane with a chance to take the lead in the match.
Brad electing to take a re-rack. We've seen some re-racks here on this left lane.
Yeah.
Players not liking something over there.
And players are allowed 2 re-racks per game. Looks like Brad's ready to go now. Going through his pre-shot routine, his pre-shot thought process. And he's been very deliberate this whole match. This to take the lead. That looked a little left, and it held.
And you heard him yell out, yes.
Little emotion there, so Brad Angelo now with a 7-pin lead.
$853 people watching live now here on YouTube. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Brandon's got to keep making good shots. He's made 3 really good shots in a row. See what happens here on the right lane. And a great shot there.
So we might have a down the stretch match here, Dave.
Yes, so Brad Angelo still with a 7-pin lead. Both players through 7 frames. Brad working on a double, Brandon working on a strike. So now Brandon up on the left lane with a chance to take the lead back.
Can Brandon throw his first strike on the left lane in this game?
Pretty good shot. And a great shot there. So he now takes the lead back, 3-pin lead.
And Brad with a little sportsmanship there.
Got a great match going on here, and that's exactly what you want to see for a title match of an event like this.
Past champions, Jake Peters, Danny Spink, Bill O'Neill, Matt McNeil, Kyle Troop, Rob Gottschall. Who will be the next? Will it be Angelo? Will it be Novak? 2.5 frames to go.
Brad Angelo on the right lane now. Down by 3 pins, working on a double. Chance to take the lead back again. He liked it. Oh, and another 210. And I thought he liked that one. He looked off his hand like he liked it.
We're looking for Brad right now. There he comes back in.
Now, he does not have the 8-pin with it this time, so
This
he
is
does
very
have,
makeable.
It's very makeable.
I'd give it about 35%.
I'd give it actually 50%.
Okay.
At least 50% for somebody of the caliber of Brad and the players that we have on the TV show tonight. This is at least a 50% spare.
All right, let's see how he goes about it.
He's got to get the ball to the left of the 2-pin, slide it over. And, oh. So 8 out in the 8th frame. And that gives Brandon a 19-pin lead now. And he is working on a double. So Brad with a max score of 201. Brandon with a max score of 230. And no matter what Brad does here, Brandon's going to get up in the 9th and 10th with a chance to close out the 2017 Logo Infusion InsideBowling.com Open. And big 4 for Brad.
Ball jumps high, 4,
Wow.
6, 7, 10. And Brandon Novak just clipping along with those clean frames, searching and searching. Throws the double. And Brad Angelo.
Brad is in a lot of trouble now.
Down the stretch here. Light high.
Takes his 2 pins, gives him 149 in the 9th, so a max of 179. Brandon Novak just needs 2 marks in the 9th and 10th to be your 2017 champion. That looked like a really good shot there too, and another ring 10. Wow. I'll tell you what, Brandon's pulled an awfully good game after the first 3 frames.
Yes.
Where he just was trying to get loose again. 3 straight ring 10s, a double, and then another ring 10. So just got to compose himself, make it spare. No problem there. And Brandon Novak needs 5 pins on the first shot. Actually, he does not. He needs 3 pins on the first shot. Brandon Novak is going to be your champion. There it is. And another 10 pin to finish out on that lane.
You see Brad with the handshake with Brandon, and congratulations to Brandon Novak, your 2017 Logo Infusion InsideBowling.com Open champion. He's the 7th champion of this event.
And Brandon Novak will also be receiving the $2,000 bonus from Logo Infusion for wearing Logo Infusion jerseys the whole tournament.
Yes, he will.
So thanks to Ken Keegan and Brandon Allred at Logo Infusion for that one.
I'll tell you what, Angelo's really had a great attitude today, and I think that's really what's kind of got him through everything. Going to the lead, and even down there, not winning the match, smiling with Brandon, congratulating him on the big win here. So hats off to Brad Angelo. Brad's been one of my favorite guys over the years. I'm glad he was able to come out and make one of the events. Top seed today, finishes 2nd, takes home
$3,700. Brandon Novak, $7,200 for the winner. And he is your champion of the 2017 Logo Infusion InsideBowling.com Open.
We'll let Brad finish up here, but I do want to thank everybody involved with today's broadcast. Once again, my entire tournament team. I want to thank the folks here at Western Bowl, Logo Infusion, Ebonite International, Kegel, and of course, Dave, you sitting in the booth with me. It's always a pleasure to talk bowling with you.
Yeah, thanks for having me in. This was very enjoyable. Had a great step-ladder finals tonight, 5 great players, and we had a really exciting title match there right down to the end.
We sure did, and as Brad finishes out, I do want to let everybody know that if you want to stick around on tonight's broadcast, I am going to interview our champion, Brandon Novak, and we'll ask him a few of the key questions that we need to ask him just about how he was able to take down this title and where it ranks up there for him and the things that he's won. He's won a lot, so it'll be interesting to get his take here in just a few moments. So give it up for Brad Angelo one more time.
We got a final score for the title match. Brandon Novak with 197 and Brad Angelo with 178.
Okay, when we come back, we're going to talk with our champion, Brandon Novak, here in just a few moments. All right, everybody, welcome back to the Logo Infusion InsideBowling.com Open. I'm Mike Flanagan. I'm here with our champion, Brandon Novak. Brandon, on behalf of Ebonite International and Logo Infusion, we'll get you your check here in just a minute, but here is your trophy, sir. Now, while you get that situated, I got a few questions for you. First of all, you've won a lot of events here recently. Where does this one stack up there for you?
Oh, definitely one of my biggest wins. You know, I've been able to bowl the last 2 years, so it's finally feels good to come off and finally win one.
During that title match, you couldn't strike for a while, and then you got the big double in there, and then Brad had the opens. Did you think that early in the match that you could win the match?
Honestly, with his look, he started off great. I was lost the first 2 frames, so really I just wanted to just grind it out, make good shots, and hopefully, you know, come away with a win.
Now, you've had a lot of success on our live broadcast. We've seen you at the Bradley Proprietors Cup very early on. Billy Eisel was even in the chat tonight. Why do you bowl so good on these webcasts that we do?
Honestly, I actually have no idea. I treat it just like, you know, just any other tournament. But for some reason, like bowling on these, it don't affect me a whole lot. But bowling on TV is a whole different story.
You broke through on the PBA. You made your first telecast. That was really cool. And now here's just another win for you. You know, you had the USBC Open All Events title as well, and you just received all the hardware there. What's next for Brandon Novak? What else do you have to do to try to accomplish in bowling?
Well, I set a goal for myself like almost 10 years ago. I've achieved everything but one thing, so national title would be the next thing on the list. Once I get that, then I accomplish everything I wanted to do in bowling.
Brandon, the last thing, I'm sure you have some people that you'd like to thank that helped put you here, and who are they?
Dave Wodka and Ebonite for allowing me to throw their products. Turbo Grips, the staff here. Logo Infusion for the sponsorship and then the added money, the top 12. And of course you guys and your staff. You guys put on a great tournament.
Well, we appreciate it, and you actually have an extra $2,000 coming from Logo Infusion because you wore the jersey from start to finish, which is really cool. So you take home almost $10,000 with the adjusted prize fund.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's awesome what they did, and how they donated the money for the people wearing the Logo Infusion. So hopefully I'll buy some more shirts from them now.
Well, that's Brandon Novak down here from the lanes. I'd like to thank everybody for watching our broadcast this weekend, and we will see you on our next one down the road. Congratulations again over here to this guy, Brandon Novak, your 2017 champion.